we'll make a start. How I do my webinars is if you've got questions, sometimes I've done webinars where I've been sat listening and I've got all these questions and they're like, ask it at the end. We ain't like that. Just ask it when you know it, because by the time the end comes, you might have forgotten your question. So as it goes along, ask whatever you need to ask, and I will break off in between and answer the questions as I need to. And then at the end, we'll do like a proper Q&A or anything else that comes up or anything else like that. Hope we're all well this evening. Just got one more person who's trying to join on now. And I hope you can all see the Perfecta, the slides that I've got prepared. And we're ready to go. So we're going to today do an introductory training on Perfecta. It is literally going to be what is Perfecta, what does it do, and how it works. But not anything in depth. What I will do is in the new year we will do another Perfecta training where the course will cost, but the cost includes a demo kit which you get sent out. And then what we'll do is we'll do a live setup in front of you. So we'll do it together. We'll set up the system on the table as we do the webinar, and we'll work through it. But that's going to be very bespoke sort of training. I think it'll be the first one ever attempted to do a live system build on via webinar. So let's go into this. So today I'm Massive from Unlimited CCTV and Security, and we are going to be doing a webinar on what is Perfecta and how it works, pretty much. So we'll go straight into it. We're going to be looking at what is SATEL Perfecta, the different types of detectors you can get for Perfecta, and the types of panels that are available. What is SATEL Perfecta? SATEL Perfecta is a grade 2 alarm system that is ideal for small commercial and domestic environments. It works brilliant. Anywhere where we've sold these items or people that have been in on the training, on the hands-on training and done it works. We've not had a customer that hasn't had a problem with them. I mean, obviously wireless systems do have certain teething problems or longer problems when there's jamming and things like that happening, but generally we don't have a problem with Perfecta. And especially with the door contacts. I know some manufacturers have problems with door contacts that just don't work on metal frames, or they just don't sync back to the panel because of how their signals work. But we touch wood, we've not had any problems with SATEL wireless detectors as of yet. So that's basically the keypad and the sensors. It's a very traditional system. I know there's a lot of hub-based systems out there right now, not naming any names, but which work on the fact that you've got a hub and everything else is attached to that hub, and the hub is literally a box on the wall that doesn't do anything. And you've got your traditional systems, and Perfecta fits in the traditional system. So put a little bit about SATEL. SATEL is the manufacturer who make Perfecta. So we, as Unlimited Solutions, are the main UK distributor for SATEL. We have brought in Perfecta and another system called Integra. Integra is a much more complex system. It's not complex to work with, but it's a much more integrated system. It works with pretty much 90% of all smart home systems out there. I mean, you've heard of Control 4, KNX, I can't think of the words that I was going to say, Elan, systems, Crestron. SATEL works perfectly with systems like that. Whereas in the situation where you don't want integration, or you want minimum integration, Perfecta is perfect. It's simple. Works. On, off, signal, activation. It works. There's no massive sort of like complexion in the makeup of Perfecta. We've got people that work with Perfecta, and they can program a system in less than 10 minutes. Panel on the wall, USB cable in, wire all your zones into it, launch your Perfecta software, learn it all, sync it all, write in your zone names, pack your tool bag up, and go home. It works. That's how it is. It's got app control, and you can do automation with it. We've got an Integra in our office, which is connected to some 240 lights via the SATEL relay board. It's got like you get something called INTORS. It's a DIN mounted device, and it sits on the bus. It's like an expander, but what it is it expands the output. So whereas Perfecta comes with 2 high-powered and 2 low-powered outputs on its main board, this gives you a further 8 240 relays built into, so you can connect your lights to it, anything that's up to 16 amps, and you can on and off from the app, on and off from alarm scenarios. So, for example, the alarm went off, that would then trigger a relay to do whatever you've got on the other end of it, or you've got you set a zone up, or you set one of your zones up as if it wasn't there to go off. Like, for example, outside PIR, you wouldn't want your outside PIR to be on full arm all the time, because cats, dogs, I mean, I know they're pet friendly, but sometimes it does occur that something does set it off, and you don't want that going off every time something like that detects it. So that would then turn a light on or turn a buzzer on. So it works quite well with a small scale automation. You get a mobile app. Your mobile app is extremely simple to use. I'll show you in a minute once we get to before we get to the end. But you open it up, you select the site that you want to be looking at. You can see errors, you can see what problems you've got, you can see what zones are active, what outputs are active. If you've got manual toggle zones, you can turn them on and off at that point. Arm and disarm the alarm, put it in night mode, day mode, however you want to do it. So SATEL do a range of wire detectors, and one of them being these are mainly the elite of the detectors. I'll just go through the detectors in a second. So we've got, let me just check. Let me just take a pause there and see if we've got any questions from anybody. Because unless am I going too fast? Has anybody got a problem with me going too fast? Because I feel like I'm going a bit too fast today. Does it have an app? Yes, it has an app. The only question I had: Does the Perfecta have an app? Yes, it has an app. It's on Play Store and it's also on Google Play Store, and it's on Google Play Store, and it's on the iOS App Store. So, detectors. The PIR, I'm working from the left to right. So the first detector that's a slimline range. They are like the elite range of detectors. SATEL have brought out a whole range of detectors. They come in a slimline PIR, which is a standard PIR, a slimline PET, a slimline dual. So it's a dual. It's got a dual lens, so it does infrared and microwave, and then you've got a dual PET, so it's got PET sensitivity up to 20 kilos as and with the slimline you can actually mount your PIR right up to 2.4 meters, which is quite nice and high, especially with properties with high ceilings. And then you've also got in the slim version you've got the Lunas. The Luna PIR are pretty cool actually, because you've got your standard PIR functions and everything else. They come in the same range, so you've got the PET, the standard PIR, the dual PET in the Lunas. But Lunas have a built-in LED light on the front, so you can have it so that if it picked up detection day or night, the light would turn on, or you can program your alarm to turn that on an evening, so it becomes a night light. Or you can turn it on so that if once the alarm's armed and somebody breaks that zone, that will light up, and it's constantly, it's like you've been seen. very cool. Next, we go to the Opal. The Opal's an outside detector. It's an IP rated out external detector. That detector has built-in day and night sensor. It's got a built-in microwave. It's also got anti-masking, and it's standard PIR as well. They can be mounted up at 2.4. They're pet friendly, so they don't pick up foxes, cats, dogs, anything, hedgehogs. Some people will ask. So I had a question: will it pick up a hedgehog? I was like, if it's not going to pick up a 20-kilo dog, it's not going to pick up a hedgehog. Then you got the door contacts and not door contacts. They are called multi contacts. So it's called the MXD300. So that particular no, sorry, my bad. I'm thinking wireless. This is wired. So on the wired, you can have standard door contacts, which is just your open and close, or you can have the XD2s, which are made by SATEL. So they've got contact, shock, and contact and shock as a together. And also you can put a third party sensor into it, so you could wire a flood detector to it, or you could wire a garage door to the bottom of it. Generally, it's a more of a multi-purpose detector. Then you got the aqua ring. That's so actually it looks quite a deep one there, but it's actually very low profile. I mean, what I'll do is if anybody wants, I can send them pictures of the aqua ring when I get in the office in the morning. But it's actually very low profile, 360 degrees PIR. It works quite well. We've had quite a good feedback from customers from there. I've just had a question. Is the app free? Yes, it is. There's no cost on either from the Play Store or and there's no subscription cost either from both iOS and Google. What is the correct mounting height for the Slimline PIR? Slimline PIR can go from anywhere from about 2 meters to about 2.4 meters. I think you could probably even get away with it at 1.8. I mean, I don't know if you know how PIRs work, but they send out a field of light vision. And there's always a pet-friendly detector has 2 lines, one that goes over and one goes below. And for it to work, both lines have to be broken as such. If you mount your PIR too high, then your detection area is like up there on the wall or too far away from the area that you're actually detecting. I mean, we had a customer that put his system up, and he put his, because the ceilings were really high. I think it was a car showroom. It was all first fixed, nice and high at 4 meters high. Everything he expected it all to work. None of it worked. Not a single one of it. It had to all be redone because they had to be brought back, and then that was the time before we were with SATEL. But SATEL at 2.4 is the most. I think the other manufacturers that I've worked with personally go up to about 2.2, 2.3, but SATEL go a little bit more and just get that 2.4 out of it. Any other questions? How reliable is it? Not had one that's gone down yet. We've had one, maybe 2 that have had a firmware issue, but since firmwares have been updated, working spot on, not had a problem. Firmware's always an issue, especially these are regardless of CCTV alarm systems. Firmware is one of those things that we have to keep an eye on. But sometimes firmware gets corrupt. I mean, that's not a device problem. It just happens. For firmware, it's like software on your computer. It gets corrupt, and you just rewrite it, and it works fine. So look. So next one, we're going to go for wireless detectors. Got a nice little range of wireless detectors on the SATEL stuff. So we've got from left to right, from top, we go top, bottom, and then we go to the last two on the end. You've got the button. We call it the button. It is a panic button for the UK grade 2 regs. You have to be a twin button, but because they don't have a twin button, that's a button. So we call it just the button. That can be used and programmed to be a panic button, so you can press it, alarms will go off, people get notified, the apps will get notified, or you could press it and create a cause and effect. You can make it output. You can to make it activate an output. So you could press that, lights would turn on. Press it, your water would turn off. Whatever you can find that you need it to do it would be able to. It's just a switch as such. You call it a switch. Then you got the MXD300s, what I mentioned earlier. They are multi-transmitter devices. You've got a great brown and a white. They both are door contacts, shocks, flood. They've got a built-in flood detector area where you can wire in the external sensor. They've also got, they're quite clever actually. A lot of door contacts, wireless ones or wired ones, only have the detection on one side. On the SATEL ones, you can detect from the top of the door or top of the detector and the side. And when you get one of these and you take it out of the box, you actually get the normal magnets that sit on the side, but you also get the magnets that you can recess into a door. It's quite clever. What's the correct amount? Oh, I've got a question. Once you are a SATEL installer, can you access manuals like Texcom and software updates, etc.? Might be worth mentioning. Yes. So if you go to satel.eu and go to the support side, you can sign up as an installer, and everything is there. Everything that you need for SATEL is there. SATEL's support services is amazing. In the UK, if anybody's got a SATEL problem, you have to come to me. Well, you don't have to, but you should come to me first. Yeah, 9 times out of 10, I can fix it. If I can't fix it, I will get in touch with somebody in Poland and get it fixed. Worst case scenario, if they can't do it because I don't talk to the tech team directly, or I can't get to the tech team directly, you make a call to Poland, or send a support ticket via their website, and they will get back to you pretty much in the same day. I've never had an issue where they've not been able to resolve it. Never been an issue. And then even the people on the other end of that phone, when calling Poland, they're nice. We've never had a, oh, you don't know what you're doing, you shouldn't do it. Or never had a, you should know what you're doing by now. Never had that. No, I would never do that, and I would never accept that as an engineer. Nor would I ever do that to a client. Nor would I expect any manufacturer that I work with to do that. So you're quite in safe hands with technical wise, because they are really good at their technical, and they're very responsive. If you find something in SATEL that you think, oh, it doesn't work, or it's something wrong, or they're very quick to make that change. They're very quick to fix the problem. They don't. I mean, like any company, they don't want bad name or anything else. But I found that SATEL resolve a problem permanently quicker than anybody else that I've ever worked with. Back to detectors. So then at the bottom we've got a smoke head, a wireless smoke head, and then a wireless heat head. They work. They have onboard batteries, and also they're not wireless. So they connect wirelessly, and you can put them into a fire zone, and it will alert your phone or a monitoring station if you want it to be monitored. It can do that. Then we've got the fob. There's your fob, which you can put in your keys, arm, disarm, activate the different partitions. You can also put in your outputs onto there, so you can get it to assign it to an output and say arm or disarm the output, which is really cool. Or you can get it to action an output. Then we've got the SATEL Slimline. It is a Slimline PIR, but in wireless. I haven't got one. I should have had one here with me to show you this, but these are very, very clever. So you put your carcass on the wall. The actual PIR module inside is like it's on its own. So you push it in, click it up, and it's in. That is it. That's the same with pretty much all the Slimline range. So if you just say, for example, you put in a Slimline pet and the customer, it kept having false alarms because it was in a room with a log burner or a heater or something that gave off heat after hours. Then you decided, oh, do you know what? I need to change it. Instead of changing the whole thing, you just literally change the inside. To take the insides out, put the new insides in, put your cables back in, boom, it works. It's hot. It's like having a hot swappable hard drive on an NVR. Really good product. The PIRs come in a PET and a standard PIR. Then, if we move forward, the panels. What do the panels come in? So there's a wide range of panels from SATEL. If you've ever looked at Perfecta Soft, the programming software, which I'll bring it up. I'll show you. It actually has. There's a variety of panels, but we've chosen the Perfecta 16, which is like a 2G, 3G device. You put a SIM card in it. If you don't want the SIM card, if you want a basic bog standard alarm that does bells and whistles only, no app, no nothing, put one of these in. Cheap and cheerful. It does what it says on the tin. Ideal for new builds. Ideal to replace those panels that everybody's ever been putting in new builds, to just for the sake of somebody wants an. But in this instance, they've got if the customer says that you leave your card inside it, if ever customer comes back to you and says, "Oh, you put this in on so and so date on this house, and now can I like it on the phone? Can you do that?" Yeah, you can. Stick a SIM card in it. We tested a SATEL panel on a monitoring station for open and close signals, once in the morning, once at night. So you've gone out, and I think we tried it for 3 times a day as well. As if you've woke up in the morning, you've disarmed your alarm, gone to work, you've rearmed your alarm, come home, you've disarmed your alarm, then you've rearmed it, and the signals are being sent to the phone or the monitoring station. And it was, I think if we tested it to see how much data it was using, and for a month of standard usage, you were looking at 250 meg. 250 meg of data usage is nothing. So a subscription on a SIM card, or even a pay-as-you-go SIM card, works fine on it. It's quite a good solution, especially if you're a developer or customer, or the project requires a cheap alarm system that's just there for the sake of having an alarm system. They're perfect. So then you've got the Perfecta IP32s. That is a wired panel, but it's got internet connectivity on board. So it's got an RJ45 port on the board. You plug your RJ45 straight into the router, and you will get all of online functions. Exactly the same as the 16, but it's got IP connectivity. Then you've got the hybrid panel, the IP32 WRL. The WRL means wireless, if anybody didn't call on. That panel has exactly the same as the IP32, but it also has the wireless antenna built into it. Let's look at the questions. Can smoke heads be monitored or viewed from within the app? Yes, they can. It's a zone at the end of the day. It is another device on the system, so you can send that to a monitoring station. Don't forget, it's not a fire system. Yeah, if it needs to be a graded fire system, put in a graded fire system. SATEL do a CSP conventional fire system. So if you ever need to talk about that, give me a shout. Let's have a look. Right, so I'm going to stop there, and then I'm going to end this. I'm going to stop the share. So we're back to me here, and I'm just going to open up Perfecta Soft, show you Perfecta Soft very quickly and how many panels there are. So let's come back to where we go. So if you look at that, that is all the different types of panels that Perfecta comes in. It comes in a 16, a 32, a 16 wireless, a 32 wireless, 32T. I genuinely don't know what that is. Never even had the need to look at that. A 32T WRL. Then we've got the standard IP32, which we always have. The IP32 WRL, which is on the IP 32 LTEs. That's a 32 with a 4G SIM card. A 32 wireless with a SIM card. A 16 GSM, which we've just talked about, and a 32 GSM. We do have some 32 GSMs on the shelf. This software is great. It's literally just works. If I can go to some projects, what we'll do is we'll log into somebody's project. We'll log into this one. No. So we're not going to log into it, but we can go through it. Let me just. So you excuse me. Sorry, my computer's not doing as it's supposed to. Lost my own self. I lost my face. Can you all see me? No, half a face. Yeah, can see you here. Yeah, okay, cool. You can see me. Right. Why would you not want to? Exactly. So there's your perfect software. So I go down it methodically when I'm programming a system for somebody. So first of all, I come in, you create a project. So if you had say you started fitting perfect systems, and you've got 30, 40, 50 systems on your software, and you'd have to differentiate the different ones. This one we did for a customer just a few weeks ago. And we've got hardware. Start on your maiden board. You've got a little button here that detects modules. You click that, and what it does is it scans the network and says, "How many wired keypads have I got on? How many wired keypads have I got on?" And then it pulls in the wired keypads, and it says, "Right, there you go. It's addressed. No issues." Then you go, "Right, wireless. I want to add a wireless device." Click my plus button, put in the serial number for the wireless device, put the battery in, and ping. It's on. That's as easy as it is. Then you sort your partitions out. You've got two partitions on this panel. It has two partitions, and that isn't day and night. That's partition one and partition two. So this particular one only had one partition, so we it's all zoned up for one partition. Zones, we go in. We said this is all wireless. It's a hybrid panel, is it? So we went wireless zone, zone 9, because 1 to 8 are on the panel. If you've got a hybrid panel, your panel comes with zones 1 to 8 on the panel, and then all the zones after that are your hybrid ones, unless you've got an expander in there and you wanted to use, like, say, 20 wired zones and 12 wireless zones. You'd put your 8XP, wrong manufacturer, yeah, INTEs on until you filled up your 20 zones, for example, and then the rest will be wireless. So you can just add a wireless zone as you need it. So there, for example, select the wiring type, told it what type of zone it is. You've got different types of zones that are available. So coming back to the fire, you can have 24-hour fire. So a fire zone is always 24-hour. Because you don't want it just to be telling you that your building's burning down when it's armed. So you'd have it on as 24 entry exit zone. You give it a 30-second or whatever you need entry time. And then you just send it up and down arrows here to send and receive from the panel, which makes it nice and easy. Then you go to your outputs. You say, right, I've got this particular one got a wireless bell. So you've got bell, wireless, ring time 4 minutes. You add it exactly the same way as you add it any other device. On the outputs, for example, if you're using a wired bell, you'd say, right, that's a bell. That's my bell 2. Don't forget, output 1 and output 2 are high-powered outputs. Output 3 and 4 are just normal 12-volt outputs. Even though they are 12 volt, they're all 12 volt. Just they're high-powered. Then you go into your functions, communications. And when you set up the app, you just tick these 3 boxes, send it to the panel, and it brings you an ID. The ID then tells you that it's connecting to the SATEL server and it's working. You've got reporting. This is for monitoring sessions. Timers, so you set up timers, arm and disarm at certain times. I'd never do a disarm on a particular time. Always do an arming timer. Firmware updates straight from here. Your users, how many users you're going to have, your service code as an engineer, and then at the bottom here you've got your master code as an engineer. Events, which is your log, how many times been armed, disarmed. We're not logged in, so you won't see what live events are. But this is me programming it the other week. So if you come down to the bottom here right at the start, you see where I turned the panel on. I've done. I've changed the time on the clock. I had a low battery voltage because my battery lead fell off. I remember that happened. And then you just carry on going through it. And then I added all these zones. Once I added all these zones, then after I closed them all, you've got this option here of on the software. You can go. You've got this. It's not going to work on it. It's not going to work. There's that little 4 squares. If you can see that, that 4 squares shows you your zone statuses. If your zone's active, is it closed, is the output active, what your wireless signals are like, things like that. Let's see if we've got any. See if anybody's got any questions. Anybody any questions? Before we move on. Back to me. Hello. We'll share back to the slideshow. So there's the panels, and then I'm gonna do a screen share to my phone. So I'm just gonna move you back to my. There we go. So you got my phone screen. So I'm just gonna launch the Perfecta app. That's how it looks. Looks very cool. And obviously I've got different people's sites where we've done tests for and so forth. Let's pick one. Let's pick the one that we were looking at before. We are going to connect into it this time. So you connect into the app. It looks like that. It comes up with we've got one partition because that's all we have got. We can name the partition. You can say, for example, Heart's House or something like that. Yeah. When you click the partition, it gives you the option with the little key on the top. If you can see that there. And that key is like your arm, because this particular system doesn't have any part sets or anything else. Click that, and you can arm it. So let's go back. At the bottom here, it tells you your events. You can see how many times it's been armed, disarmed, how many times the alarm's gone off. Then you go on to the next tab. That's your troubles. If you've got any errors on your system, that is where it will show. And you got outputs. There's no outputs on this system other than the main belt, which is wireless, and you can't manually control a main belt, so it's not going to show. You got your zones. So if there was somebody in that property, what it would do is as people are walking around, you'll see them light up. You'll see, like for example, the living room. Somebody passes the PIR, it'll go green, or if somebody takes the lid off, it'll go red. And then over here, that's it. That is how simple this app is. It is simple as simple. You can't ask for any more from an easy to fit simple alarm system. I'm gonna bring you back to me. So next one, questions. Have you got any questions? And anything that you need to ask? I mean, it is a very simple system. I don't see engineers out there that have come to us and taken this system on board as their primary system to install. They've run with it. I've not had a customer, other than a couple of niggly bits. We've not had anybody with any major problems. We've had a few wireless issues. There was a firmware issue with the battery runtime, which has been sorted, which literally happened to 2 people, I think it was. But other than that, there's not been any great deal of problems with it. What does a keypad look like? I can show you a keypad. I think it was on one of the slides. Let me just come back to there. I think it was at one of the start slides. There's a keypad. That is that keypad there. That is what the keypad looks like. On the wireless side, it's like no, they don't do a flush keypad, but the profile of the keypad is quite small. It isn't that thick. As any wireless system, on a wireless one, you'd press the button to wake it up. Warranties? Never asked the question, to be honest, but 2 years. I would go with 2 years. I know the Integra is longer. But I will confirm. I'll get back to you, Luke. Can you fit a smart com? Well, no, it doesn't need a smart com. Smart comms are for a Texcom system. This is a built-in. For example, if you wanted it to be a wireless, if you wanted to add it to your internet wirelessly, it doesn't have built-in Wi-Fi because there's a reason why it doesn't, because Wi-Fi can be hacked. You can jam Wi-Fi. It's very easy to jam Wi-Fi, and you can do it with SAT. You can do it with your phone, or you can do it with a very small device. It's not something that can't be jammed. So if you've got that issue, I would use a range extender, plug it in next to it. I know it's not the most secure thing that you can do, but that is your get out of jail with it. Any pictures of the SAB? The SAB is the same as on the picture. If I go back to that is the SAB at the back. If you're using a wireless system, that's what you're limited to. And no, they don't do printed code. You can get if you go to your own local printers, you can get take one and then get them to make you a sticker, and you can stick it on. If you're using a wired bell, I would go with the Texcom Odyssey bell. They are really good bells. We sell 90% of our Perfecta Integra panels that are sold with the Texacom Odyssey X. If you've seen one, let me see if I can bring one up on here to show you. And they can be printed. You can get they have like an insert. You can either print it yourself and laminate it and stick it in so it's weatherproof, or you can get them printed by well, the cheaper just to get them printed by a local company on a bit of vinyl and just stick them in. So I don't know if you can see that. It's looking like mad over here, but that's the Texcom Odyssey X bell. They work perfect. They're a good bell. How long on average do the batteries last in a wireless system? On standard use, about 3 years. If you've got a high moving site where your PIRs are constantly activated, your bells are constantly sounding, or your doors are constantly opening and closing when the system needs to communicate, it reduces the time. And also on the keypads, if you raise the volume on the keypads and add on chimes and things like that, it significantly reduces the battery life. But on average use, it lasts about 3 years. So, have anybody else have any questions? What is it like compared to other? What is it like compared to other panels? Compared to other panels, it's right there. I'm not going to mention names of other panels, but I see it be very. It's there. I mean, just on the Perfecta, forget the rest of the SATEL panels. Just the Perfecta, with the fact that we no longer have the I think Honeywell have stopped making the one of the cheaper panels that are like every new build in the world has. It is a real competitor for that. It is as good as anything that comes up against it. Have they got any plans to be able to do a service report through the software like Texcom? A service report as in like a printout. I'm sure the software you can do it with the software. You can create. You can print out the event log. that's something that I'm going to have to ask the question if we're going to be able to. I know there's a lot of new things happening with SATEL over this coming year. So there's all because it's the sort of company it is. Development is key. Development is they'll like to be ahead of everything. I mean, have you seen the new Integra app? It blows anything out of the water. Yeah, like panel voltages, current, etc. So on that, voltage out of the panel is 12 volts, regardless. So I mean, can you see how much you're using, ups and downs and things like that? With SATEL, if you design an alarm system using the SATEL's design software, that incorporates. So you can say, right, I'm going to add a panel. I'm a Perfecta IP32. Then I'm going to add 8 slim PIR pets. Then I'm going to add then I'm going to add 4 XD2 door contacts. At that point, it'll say the software will say, "Hey, you haven't got enough room left on this panel. You need to add an INTE," and you drop an INTE in. And as you're growing and building the panel, somewhere along the line, if you run out of voltage because you've put that panel in and you've put the power supply that you and the battery that you've got in there, it'll say, "Hang on a minute, you can't add this now because you haven't got enough voltage. You've not got enough resources to run that panel. You need an APS 412, and then you put a 12 volt APS 412 in the mix." So it has there's a piece of software which I should know the name of, and right now I can't think of because it's just come out of my mind. I am going to go look for it because it's going to bug me. SATEL's support website is amazing. I don't know if I've said that already. We can have a look at it. Let me just log into it then. I know there's a couple of customers on here that use use it for resources, but it is Convex. Software's called Convex. That's a webinar in itself when we do one. It'll be all about how it works and what it does and how we'll design a system on a webinar and show you how powerful the software is. I think it's the only one of its kind, to be honest, especially with the fact that it uses all the voltage values, and you can put in like for us, we know that maximum cable length is 100 meters. It already knows all that, and I'm sure you can tell it. You can actually make a plan. You can upload a PDF document or a CAD document, and you can add the sensors to the picture, so you can and then it does a printout. So if you've done a design on Convex, you can then say to it, right, now I want to go for this because it's all the voltage, everything checks out. You can then put your logos and names, your company name on it. It'll print out a full report and say, this is what we've presented. This is the panel we've done. These are the detectors. These detectors do this. So it gives you a full breakdown of what the detectors do. This is the costings. So you can put your costings in there, and you can say, right, this is what it's going to cost you. Then on the end it'll say, and these are the power values. This is why we've used the APS 412, which is a secondary power supply. And it'll give you all that breakdown. It's a very powerful bit of software. Just gonna swap my screen over to. Thanks, Paul. So we've got a customer on the webinar. He's told me why it's called. So if I swap you over to. So this is SATEL's support site. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit so we can see it a little bit better. So can you all see that? So coming down, so you've got, we're logged in obviously as a distributor, so we get all the marketing materials and stuff like that as well. But there is some stuff that's available to engineers. So right from the start, home, all the time. I mean, right up to the 16th to the 12th, which was 2 or 3 days ago. New firmware for ABAX is there. You got the release notes as well. Everything is in one place. You've got the E-Academy in there, giving you videos, guides on how to do setups on certain products. The news section, promote the latest version. The new Integra app, that's like blows anything. We have to do a webinar just on the Integra app. I am currently in the midway of installing Integra in my house, which will be integrated with my hike system and my lighting control system, and it'll all run off the Integra, which is really good. Technical support. Under there, you've got manuals, certificates, software. So, for example, manual, I want a manual for Perfecta 16. It's pick the language I want because SATEL is worldwide. And you can pick up the manual. And, for example, programming manual, download straight away, and it's there. Certificates gives you all your grading certificates, like the Perfecta IP32. Didn't even have to put these in. Gives you the EU declaration, the 50131. A grade 2 certificate. It's all PD 6662, and it's all UK. It's all graded European grade 2, which conforms to all UK legislation. Software, all the software that's available. So if I put in there Perfecta Soft, press enter. Oh, no, you click that there, and it'll come up. There's the two versions that I'm available. The latest one, which was released in September, or the one in June. Design templates, so you can pick a product and you can then work your marketing around it. It's full of resources. Your tickets are on there, so you could say, right, I've got a support problem. Create a ticket on that website. Create it, send it, and it'll reply back to there. Confex, this is what we were talking about. There's Confex software. Marketing support, visual content. You can literally get content. These are the new Integra content, the new Integra app. You can design your marketing to target your customers with all the resources that are already here. All you have to do is your logos and your YouTube ads. So it's already got. They've got their own YouTube channel. I don't think you can see that, but you can click on there and go straight to the YouTube, Vimeo, LinkedIn. When you buy a SATEL, system, you don't just buy. When you buy into SATEL, into the Integra, into the Perfecta, you don't just buy a panel and it's that's you're done with SATEL. So you buy everything that goes with SATEL. Yeah, be different, be SATEL. Yeah, you don't want to be the run of the mill. You don't want to be banging your head against the same quotes. Everybody's quoting the same panels over and over again. If, for example, if you're a Pyronics fitter and you're fighting with all the other people that fit in Pyronics, or if you're a Texacom fitter and you're fighting all the other people that fit in Texacom, so why do that? Just be a bit different. Fit something that you've got the support with, not just from me. We've got the support from us as Unlimited, but you've got an army of tech in Poland. Are they going to improve the Perfecta app like they did with the Integra? I don't know. Maybe they are. We'll see. I mean, I think the Integra app's been 4 years in the making. I think it was. That's what I was told. It's been in production. The amount of work that's gone into it, you can see with the quality of the app. I mean, I mentioned Paul earlier. What do you think, Paul? See if he answers back. But somebody else has just said that the Integra app looks high and much quicker to set up than Integra. Oh yeah, the Perfecta. If you don't need that integration, right? You don't need that. The like for the Integra, you've got the touchscreen keypads and the different variety of keypads. If you don't need any of that, Perfecta you play forward. It's literally. I've got customers out there that have fit and forget. And then the ones that they do sell the service packages with, they know that they've got a product that's gonna carry on going. Any more questions, guys, before we wrap up for the evening? Everybody good? Right. I'm going to wrap up. Thank you for joining me on this adventure of Perfecta. And what's the range like between multiple outbuildings? On the Perfecta, it's got a 100-meter range. If you wanted something that's going to go further and you wanted some more, and then obviously in that 100-meter, it all depends on the fabric of the building. If you wanted something that had a longer and a bigger range, you'd go Integra and use ABAX, or you could actually use ABAX and Perfecta together. But you'd look at a much more of a advanced system because ABAX has a 2,000-meter range and it's quite powerful, and you can even get little wireless expanders. You can expand 4 wired zones out of a wireless expander, which is really cool. Right, guys, I'm going to sign off. Thank you for joining me on this webinar, and we will see you next week. I think there isn't one next week. We're going to wait until the new year. The next webinar is going to be on EasyViz doorbells and the chime and how you can connect both them together. We'll do obviously a live demonstration like we have done before, and how you can add them to the MVR and how it all works and how well they work together. I'm Asif from Unlimited CCTV and Security, and we'll see you on our next webinar. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.